The Christmas Story. Children, do you know the origin of Christmas? There was a special young woman named Mary. Today, let's hear a story about her and a special baby named Jesus. One day, an angel named Gabriel appeared to Mary with an important message. Let's listen to this story together and see what interesting things happened. The story begins in a small town called Nazareth in Galilee. In this town lived a young woman named Mary, who was already promised to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The angel told her, "The Holy Spirit will come on you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God." Upon hearing the angel's announcement, Mary felt frightened, but the angel reassured her, saying, "Greetings, favored one, do not be afraid, for you have found favor with God." Mary humbly replied, "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." As Mary explained this divine mission to Joseph, he hesitated and pondered how to handle this unexpected situation. That night, Joseph had a dream where an angel spoke to him, saying, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins." Joseph woke up, firmly believing in God's guidance, and obeyed the angel's command by taking Mary as his wife. When they arrived in Bethlehem, Mary's time came to give birth. Unable to find a room in the inn, they settled in a stable where Jesus was born. Meanwhile, in Judea, King Herod secretly met with wise men from the east, seeking information about the star's appearance over Bethlehem. He instructed them, "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I too may go and worship him." However, when the wise men left, Herod became troubled upon learning of the child's potential significance. Herod gathered chief priests and teachers of the law, asking where the Messiah was to be born. They pointed to Bethlehem, quoting the prophet's words. Following the star, the wise men found Jesus and Mary. Overwhelmed with joy, they bowed down and presented gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. One wise man said, "We saw his star when it rose in the east and have come to worship him." Another added, "This child will become the King of the Jews, ruling over David's house, and his kingdom will never end." Guided by a dream, the wise men avoided Herod and returned home via a different route. After their departure, an angel again appeared to Joseph in a dream, urging him to take Mary and Jesus to Egypt to escape Herod's threat. Joseph obeyed, and they stayed in Egypt until Herod's death. This story vividly illustrates God's plan and guidance, revealing the extraordinary arrival of Jesus, who came to redeem humanity. Festival fun facts. Christmas is a joyful and love-filled holiday. On this day, we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, a special baby who came into the world to save us. During Christmas, families come together to exchange gifts, enjoy delicious food, and decorate Christmas trees. Most importantly, we sing Christmas carols together, embracing the warm and happy atmosphere. So, Christmas is a time filled with love and laughter, allowing us to share wonderful moments and experience the magical Christmas spirit together.
Boys and girls, we are all unique. Little Ming and Little Mei are good friends, and they love playing together. One day, While playing at the park, Little Ming noticed that Little May was wearing a skirt, so he asked,
Little May, why are you wearing a skirt?
Little May replied, because I'm a girl, and girls usually wear skirts.
Curious, Little Ming asked, then why do I wear pants?
Little May explained, because you're a boy, and boys usually wear pants.
As they continued playing, Little Ming suddenly thought of a question and asked,
We look similar, so why is your voice higher and mine lower?
Little May answered, because I'm a girl, and girls usually have higher voices.
Finding it intriguing, Little Ming asked,
We both play, so why do you like playing with dolls, and I like playing with balls?
Little May explained, because everyone has their own interests, whether they're boys or girls.
Little Ming nodded and said, So, boys and girls have many differences, but we can still be good friends. Little Ming and Little Ming are having a great time playing in the park. They are playing on the slide, swinging on the swings, and playing hide and seek together. Little Ming noticed that Little May's body had some differences compared to his. For instance, Little May's voice was higher, her bones were finer, and her muscles were softer. Little Ming also observed that Little May liked playing with dolls, while he preferred playing with balls. Curious, Little Ming wanted to know more about the differences between boys and girls. He asked Little May,
What else is different in our bodies?
Little May explained, boys and girls both have organs like the heart, lungs, stomach, and intestines, but some organs are different.
Little May then went on to explain, in simple terms, the differences in the reproductive organs of boys and girls. Little Ming found it interesting, and he learned that boys and girls have different functions in terms of reproduction. During their playtime, Little Ming and Little May gained mutual understanding of each other's bodies and personalities. They learned that even though boys and girls are different, it's essential to respect each other. Children, through the interaction between Little Ming and Little May, we discovered some differences between boys and girls, such as dressing habits, pitch of voice, and hobbies. However, these differences do not affect the strong friendship between them. While exploring the disparities in their bodies, Little Ming and Little May learned the important values of respect and understanding. Despite the variations in appearance and interests between boys and girls, these distinctions make them unique, adding richness and diversity to their friendship. This story reminds us to cherish and respect the uniqueness of each individual, building relationships on the foundation of friendship and understanding, so we can collectively enjoy the beauty of life.
Wishing to be you. In the forest, there is a squirrel. Every day, he jumps around on tree branches, searching for pine cones. He finds his life boring and often envies other animals. One day, the squirrel sees a bird soaring freely in the sky. He admires the bird's ability to fly around, exploring every corner of the forest. He thinks, how wonderful it would be if I could fly like a bird. Next, the squirrel observes a bear running through the forest. He admires the bear's strength and courage, thinking how majestic it would be to be like a bear. Then, the squirrel notices a bee collecting honey in a flower bush. He envies the bee's hard work, creating a beautiful life for itself and its family. He thinks, how happy it would be to be like a bee. The squirrel, filled with envy, decides to seek the help of a magician to transform into these animals. The magician grants the squirrel's requests. With a wave of the magic wand, the squirrel becomes a bird. The squirrel is delighted and starts flying in the sky. He sees every corner of the forest and views scenes other animals have never seen. However, he quickly discovers that flying is exhausting. He has to constantly flap his wings and be cautious of branches and obstacles. The squirrel feels tired and wants to give up. Once again, the squirrel makes a wish to the magician, this time to become a bear. The magician agrees to the squirrel's request. With a wave of the magic wand, the squirrel becomes a bear. The squirrel is thrilled and starts running in the forest. He feels powerful, but soon realizes that the bear's size is too large. Running is inconvenient, and he often bumps into trees. The squirrel feels troubled. Once more, the squirrel wishes to the magician, this time to become a bee. The magician again grants the squirrel's request. With a wave of the magic wand, the squirrel becomes a bee. The squirrel is happy now. He can work hard, creating a beautiful life for himself and his family. However, he quickly realizes that the bee's work is challenging. He has to continuously collect honey and avoid predators. The squirrel feels tired and wants to give up. The squirrel becomes a bird, a bear, and a bee, but he hasn't found the life he desires. He starts reflecting on why he envied other animals. The squirrel finally realizes that he was already wonderful. He has his unique qualities. He can jump around, searching for pine cones. He can climb up and down, avoiding enemies. He can hide in a tree hollow and take a sweet nap. Children, this story tells us that everyone is unique, with their special qualities. There's no need to envy others. By cherishing and liking ourselves, we can lead a happy and fulfilling life. No matter what kind of child you are the best.
Little Bear Baby and the Wolf Are Coming. Once upon a time, in a beautiful forest, lived a little bear baby. It was the youngest and the most mischievous among the bear mom's children. One day, the bear mom had to go mushroom picking and left the little bear baby in the forest to take care of the honey. Excited, the little bear baby couldn't wait to play in the forest. In the forest, the little bear baby picked wild fruits and chased butterflies, having a great time. It noticed other children playing outside the forest and joined them, chatting happily. The other children loved the cute little bear baby and fed it delicious wild fruits, which it enjoyed immensely. After playing with the other children for a while, the little bear baby returned to the forest to attend to the honey. It spotted a gray creature scurrying in the grass. Terrified, the little bear baby ran out of the forest and shouted to the other children, "The wolf is coming! The wolf is coming! Help!" Hearing the cries, the other children were surprised. They rushed home, grabbed sticks and stones, and ran into the forest. They searched carefully but found no sign of a wolf. When they arrived, they found the little bear baby standing on the grass, looking anxious. The other children asked, "Where's the wolf? Did you see a wolf?" The little bear baby, feeling embarrassed, said, I didn't see a wolf. I just wanted to play a trick on you." The children were angry, telling the little bear baby, "How could you do that? We were worried when we heard your cries. Your actions make us lose trust in you." Regretful, the little bear baby apologized, saying, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again." The children, seeing the sincerity in the little bear baby, forgave it. A few days later, the little bear baby went to the forest again to tend to the honey. While picking wild fruits, it suddenly heard the howling of a wolf. Terrified, the little bear baby shouted to the other children, "The wolf is coming! The wolf is coming! Help!" Hearing the cries, the children became worried. They hurried home, grabbed sticks and stones, and ran into the forest. Upon arrival, they saw a large gray wolf chasing the little bear baby. The children rushed to the rescue, and the wolf, scared, fled. the little bear baby was saved, expressing gratitude for the children's help. From this experience, the little bear baby understood that lying is a bad behavior. It vowed to change this bad habit and become an honest person. From then on, the little bear baby never lied again. It always treated everyone honestly and gained the trust of all.
The Dental Adventures of Little Squirrel. In a lush green forest, there lived a group of small animals who had a passion for delicious food. Among them was a little fellow named Squirrel, and its joy was in collecting various tasty nuts, especially those sweet and flavorful kernels. Every day, Squirrel hopped and ran through the forest, searching for the freshest and most delicious nuts. Its mouth was always busy, making a crunching sound. However, there was a small issue that Squirrel seemed to ignore brushing its teeth. One day, while Squirrel was enjoying its usual nuts, it suddenly felt a sharp pain in its teeth. It hurriedly touched its teeth with its little paw, discovering a slight discomfort.
Oh, it hurts.
Squirrel cried out in pain. Coincidentally, Squirrel's mom happened to pass by. Hearing Squirrel's cries, she walked over with concern and asked,
Squirrel, what's wrong? Why are you in so much pain?
Squirrel sighed and replied with a trembling voice,
Mom, my teeth seem to be a bit painful. I guess I ate too many nuts.
Squirrel's mom widened her eyes and said with concern,
We need to quickly go see Dr. Woodpecker. Don't delay.
Following Mom's advice, Squirrel went together with her to see Dr. Woodpecker. Dr. Woodpecker was the most skilled dentist in the forest, and it quietly operated a small clinic on a tall tree. Dr. Woodpecker examined Squirrel's teeth, and after confirming the cavity situation, it frowned and said,
Squirrel, this is because you don't like brushing your teeth, allowing bacteria to attack your teeth.
Squirrel, filled with regret upon hearing this, immediately said,
Dear Woodpecker, I truly regret it. I will definitely brush my teeth properly from now on.
Dr. Woodpecker smiled and began to give some advice to Squirrel.
All right, Squirrel, when you go home, brush your teeth twice a day, each time for 3 minutes. Use a soft bristle toothbrush, dip it in fluoride toothpaste, brush the inside, outside, and biting surfaces of your teeth, and finish with rinsing.
Squirrel nodded in understanding and decided to firmly remember Dr. Woodpecker's advice. Since then, Squirrel brushed its teeth regularly every day, and it wasn't just a casual activity anymore. It became a wholehearted effort, as if adding a protective halo to its teeth. Before long, Squirrel's teeth regained their health and the pain disappeared. Its mouth was once again filled with the joyful sound of chewing, and its laughter became even more radiant. Squirrel was pleased to have overcome its bad habit of neglecting toothbrushing. It not only shared this good news with its mom, but also spread the importance of brushing teeth to other forest animals, hoping everyone would understand. Since then, the animals in the forest became more mindful of oral health, forming a healthy and happy family. Whenever they gathered for meals, they could enjoy various delicacies, because having healthy teeth made life even more wonderful. Happy New Year! Little Ming was a lively and active young boy, and his favorite holiday was the Lunar New Year. The Lunar New Year is the most important traditional festival in China, a time for families to come together. On the day before the Lunar New Year, little Ming's mother began to busy herself. She cleaned the house, hung up red couplets, and prepared a sumptuous New Year's Eve dinner. Little Ming also helped his mother with tasks like putting up couplets, decorating the windows, and making dumplings. Little Ming's favorite couplet was, "May your fortune be as boundless as the East Sea, and your longevity be as towering as the southern mountain." He wished for health and longevity for his entire family in the coming year. Little Ming also liked window flowers. He found them beautiful and believed they brought festivity to the home. When making dumplings, his mother taught him to shape them into various forms, and Little Ming's dumplings all looked very appealing. The New Year's Eve dinner is the most important meal during the Lunar New Year, and every household prepares a lavish feast. Little Ming's favorite dish was dumplings, symbolizing family reunion. He also enjoyed eating fish, as it symbolized surplus year after year. After finishing the New Year's Eve dinner, Little Ming stayed up with his family to welcome the arrival of the new year. As the clock struck midnight, they lit firecrackers together, welcoming the arrival of the new year. The next day was the Lunar New Year. Little Ming and his family went to visit friends and relatives to offer New Year's greetings. They wished the elders happiness and good fortune in the new year, and Little Ming received red envelopes from them. He hid the red envelopes under his pillow, feeling happy and content. Little Ming also participated in lively activities such as dragon and lion dances. He watched colorful fireworks light up the night sky, feeling the joy of the new year. In the evening, Little Ming and his family lit sky lanterns, making wishes for the new year. During the new year, Little Ming participated in many fun activities, such as watching the New Year's Eve gala, going shopping, and setting off fireworks. He had a great time and enjoyed an unforgettable Lunar New Year. In the story, Little Ming's family made many preparations to welcome the new year. They cleaned the house, hung up red couplets, and prepared a sumptuous New Year's Eve dinner. They also stayed up together to welcome the arrival of the new year. During the new year, Little Ming participated in many fun activities, such as watching the New Year's Eve gala, attending street events, and setting off fireworks. He had a great time and enjoyed an unforgettable Lunar New Year. Through this story, children can understand what the Lunar New Year is and the activities and cultural traditions that take place during the new year. The Lunar New Year is an essential part of Chinese traditional culture, symbolizing family reunion, joy, and hope. Tom and Friends' warm bath time. During the hot summer days, Tom decided to give his pet dog, Xiao Bowie, and a newly adopted kitten a special bath time together. This was not only to refresh them, but also a great opportunity to foster understanding and friendship between them. Xiao Bowie, an energetic and playful dog, often ran around in mud and sandpits outside, while the kitten was a new member of the family, curious about everything. Tom carefully brought the two animals into the bathroom, prepared warm water and mild pet shampoo. Before starting the bath, Tom let Xiao Bowie and the kitten get used to the bathroom environment, gently comforting them to know there was nothing to fear. Tom first gently poured water on Xiao Bowie, who quickly adapted and began to frolic in the water. Then, Tom turned to the kitten, which was initially resistant to the water, but gradually relaxed under Tom's gentle touch. Tom gently massaged them, washed their fur with special pet shampoo, carefully avoiding their eyes and ears. During the bath, Tom noticed Xiao Bowie and the kitten started playing with each other, with Xiao Bowie even trying to push water splashes towards the kitten with his nose. The kitten responded with soft meows, seeming to enjoy the game as well. Tom couldn't help but laugh, realizing this joint bath not only made Xiao Bei and the kitten cleaner, but also brought their relationship closer. After the bath, Tom wrapped Xiao Bei and the kitten in a warm, large towel, gently drying their fur. Then, they went together to the living room under the sunlight, letting the warm sun help dry them. During this process, Xiao Bei and the kitten seemed to enjoy each other's company even more, curling up together, occasionally licking each other, as if thanking each other for the companionship and Tom's care. With the warmth of the afternoon sun, Tom, Xiao Bei, and the kitten lazily spent a beautiful afternoon in the living room. Tom looked at their peaceful appearance, his heart filled with satisfaction and love. He knew this special bathing experience not only made Xiao Bei and the kitten cleaner and more comfortable, but also strengthened their family bond. In that cozy summer afternoon, Tom deeply felt the warmth of home and the unspoken friendship between pets. Kids, do you know? Learning to bathe correctly is an important life skill. This includes knowing how to use mild soap and shampoo, as well as how to gently wash the entire body with warm water, especially paying attention to cleaning all parts of the body, while avoiding getting soap and water into the eyes and ears. Moreover, learning how to dry off with a clean towel after bathing and putting on clean clothes is equally important. Through this story, kids can learn about the importance of bathing and how to care for and look after our pet friends.
Who made these animal track? Xiao Ming is a little boy who loves eating cake. One day, he left the cake his mother made on the living room table and went out to play. When he came back, he found the cake was gone. There were also a series of small footprints left on the ground. Xiao Ming curiously looked at the footprints, thinking, "Whose footprints are these? Who stole my cake?" He decided to find out who the culprit was. Xiao Ming's first thought was to observe animal footprints in the park. He went to the park and saw puppies, kittens, birds, rabbits, and raccoons. Xiao Ming first observed the puppy's footprints. He carefully compared the puppy's footprints with those on the ground and found that they were not the same. The puppy's footprints were round, with 4 toes and claw marks. Then, Xiao Ming observed the kitten's footprints. He carefully compared the kitten's footprints with those on the ground and found that they were also not the same. The kitten's footprints were round, but with 4 toes and no claw marks. Then, Xiao Ming observed the bird's footprints. He carefully compared the bird's footprints with those on the ground and found that they were very different. The bird's footprints were very small, with only 3 toes. Next, Xiao Ming observed the rabbit's footprints. He carefully compared the rabbit's footprints with those on the ground and found that they were also different. The rabbit's footprints were in the shape of an inverted triangle, with 4 toes. Finally, Xiao Ming observed the raccoon's footprints. He carefully compared the raccoon's footprints with those on the ground and found that they were very similar. The raccoon's footprints had 5 toes, with the front paws having 5 long claws, and the hind paws having 5 shorter claws. Xiao Ming thought, could it be that a raccoon stole my cake? To further confirm, Xiao Ming decided to go to places where raccoons often appeared to look for more evidence. Xiao Ming went to the riverside and found a series of raccoon footprints. He followed the footprints and came to a big tree. Xiao Ming found a hole under the tree. He looked into the hole and saw a raccoon inside. The raccoon was startled when it saw Xiao Ming, turned around and ran. Xiao Ming chased after it and finally caught the raccoon. Xiao Ming asked the raccoon, "Did you steal my cake?" The raccoon hung its head and said, I stole it. I was too hungry and couldn't resist eating your cake." Hearing this, Xiao Ming said angrily, "You can't steal things! That's wrong." The raccoon knew it had done wrong and apologized to Xiao Ming. Xiao Ming forgave the raccoon and shared the remaining cake with it. Through this experience, Xiao Ming understood the importance of observing nature. He encourages other children to also observe nature closely, as it quietly moves around your environment, leading to many unexpected discoveries. When observing animal footprints, children should be careful not to disturb the animals. If you see an injured animal, be sure to inform an adult promptly.
Carrot juice for the little rabbit. On a sunny and beautiful afternoon, Xiao Ming decided to give his lively and adorable little rabbit a special surprise, a cup of its favorite fresh carrot juice. This was not only an expression of love for the little rabbit, but also an opportunity for learning and growth. Let's hear about the unforgettable adventure that Xiao Ming and the little rabbit experienced together. On a sunny afternoon, Xiao Ming prepared a cup of fresh carrot juice for his energetic pet rabbit. Knowing how much the rabbit loved the taste of carrots, he hoped the full cup of carrot juice would make it happy. Seeing the bright orange liquid, the rabbit immediately became excited, eager to taste it. It grabbed the cup with its front paws, attempting to drink directly from the edge. However, this small action caused a big disaster, splashing carrot juice everywhere. Not only was it covered in juice, but the chocolate-colored Labrador passing by also got a few splashes, marking it with orange dots. Xiao Ming, seeing this, did not blame the rabbit but smiled gently instead. He carefully took the cup and patiently showed the rabbit how to use a straw. After a few demonstrations, the rabbit seemed to understand. It cautiously approached the straw and began to sip slowly. After several attempts, the rabbit finally learned how to elegantly drink the carrot juice through the straw without making a mess. After finishing the carrot juice, the rabbit seemed to realize its previous mischief. It hopped to the kitchen, grabbed a cloth with its mouth, and then hopped back to start diligently wiping the table and floor. Seeing this, Xiao Ming couldn't help but squat down to help, gently stroking the rabbit's ears while wiping. The dog also circled around them, seemingly wanting to help too. Once everything was clean and as good as new, Xiao Ming was very pleased and decided to give the rabbit a small reward. He took out a piece of carrot cake he had made that morning from the fridge and gently placed it in front of the rabbit. Seeing the cake, the rabbit's eyes lit up. It happily jumped up and then began to taste it cautiously. Through this story, Xiao Ming not only taught the rabbit how to take care of itself, but also the importance of responsibility. At the same time, the process deepened their emotional bond, making the afternoon a cherished memory. The story emphasizes the power of patient teaching and positive encouragement, as well as the importance of love and responsibility. The Parable of the 10 Virgins. Kids, have you ever heard of the Parable of the 10 Virgins used by Jesus? This story is from the Bible, Matthew 25, 1-13. Jesus used this parable to teach the believers to be vigilant and prepared for his return. One day, when Jesus was gathered outdoors with his disciples, he told a parable to help them understand that faith needs to be practiced in life and to prepare themselves accordingly. Jesus told the story like this. In a distant place, there was a small village. In the village, there were 10 maidens, all of whom were good friends. One day, the maidens heard news that the prince of the village was going to have a wedding. They were all very happy and decided to go together to welcome the prince. The maidens each took a lamp and waited at the village entrance. Among them, 5 were wise and took some oil along with their lamps. The other 5 were foolish and took their lamps without any oil. The prince did not show up for a long time, and the maidens got tired and started to doze off one by one. At midnight, someone shouted, "The bridegroom is coming! Go out to meet him!" All the maidens woke up and hurried to get their lamps ready. Then they realized that the lamps of the foolish maidens had gone out. "What should we do? Our lamps are out," said the foolish maidens anxiously. The foolish virgins then said, "Can you not share some of your oil with us?" "So," the wise virgins replied, "there won't be enough for both us and you. Go and buy some for yourselves." The foolish virgins said, "But it's already dark. Where can we go to buy oil?" The wise virgins suggested, "You can go to the village to buy oil." The foolish virgins decided, "All right, we'll go and buy some oil." So, the foolish maidens went to buy oil in the village. When they went to buy oil, the prince arrived. The wise maidens together went to the door to greet the prince and entered the wedding feast, and then the door was closed. The foolish maidens came back after buying oil, only to find the door already closed. They knocked on the door and shouted, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." The prince answered, "Truly, I tell you, I do not know you." The foolish maidens were heartbroken because they could not enter the wedding feast. Jesus used this parable to teach the believers to be alert and prepared for his return. Believers must not only believe in Jesus, but also live out their faith in life and do the Lord's work. In this way, when Jesus comes again, we can enter the kingdom of heaven with him. The Tale of Zhu Chu Eliminating the 3 Perils. Long ago, during the Jin dynasty, in Yixing, there was a young man named Zhu Chu. Orphaned at a young age and lacking guidance, he had a natural hero's aura, but often used his brute strength to cause trouble in the village, committing all sorts of misdeeds. The villagers would avoid him as if he were a poisonous snake or fierce beast. One day, while he was strolling down the street, he noticed a group of people discussing something. He hurried over to join in on the excitement, but everyone fell silent and walked away. Zhu Chu found this odd and grabbed an elderly man to ask,
"Why is everyone so gloomy when it's a peaceful time and a year of good harvest?"
The elderly man sighed deeply and said,
"How can there be happiness when the 3 perils still exist?"
Zhu Chu pressed on about what these 3 perils were. The elderly man, fearful, truthfully replied,
"There are 3 perils here. One is a man-eating tiger in the southern mountains. The second is a dragon in the river, under the long bridge. They have killed many people."
Before the elderly man could finish, Zhu Chu loudly proclaimed,
"What's there to fear from a tiger or a dragon? Let me eliminate them." He then turned and ran off.
Zhu Chu ran up to the southern mountains in search of the man-eating tiger. After a lengthy search, he finally found the ferocious beast, which was incredibly large and fierce. As the tiger pounced towards Zhu Chu with its gaping jaws, intending to swallow him whole, Zhu Chu swiftly dodged, mounted the tiger's back, and with a powerful punch, he struck the tiger's head and killed it. Then, Zhu Chu arrived at the picturesque area beneath the long bridge, which was home to the Jiolong, water dragon. First, he entered the water on a wooden raft and used his wit to outmaneuver the dragon. After 3 days and nights, using a weapon made of ropes and hooks, he finally killed the Jiaolong in a thrilling battle. Zhu Chu, using his last bit of strength, dragged the dragon ashore, cut off its head, and brought it back to the village. Zhu Chu fought the dragon for 3 days and nights. The villagers, having not heard from him, assumed he was dead and were actually happy, celebrating among themselves. When Zhu Chu returned with the dragon's head, he saw the villagers celebrating and realized that he was also considered one of the 3 perils. Ashamed and guilt-ridden because his past misdeeds had made the villagers regard him as a menace, Zhu Chu resolved to change his ways and start anew. Later, he studied under a literary master named Lu Yun, worked hard, and a year later he was appointed as an official. He used his intelligence and bravery to bring welfare to many people. This story teaches us that anyone can change. With determination, one can learn from their mistakes and become a better person. Bravery and wisdom can help us overcome difficulties, and change is not only a responsibility to oneself, but also to others. The wisdom of King Solomon. Long ago, in the kingdom of Israel, there was a wise and just king named Solomon, renowned for his wisdom and justice. The wisdom of King Solomon was a gift from God. Before Solomon's ascension to the throne, his father, King David, passed away. At that time, Solomon was still young and did not know how to govern the nation. One night, God appeared to Solomon in a dream and said, "Ask for whatever you want from me." Solomon thought for a moment and said, "My God Jehovah, you have let your servant inherit my father David's throne, but I am young and ignorant and do not know how to govern your people. Please grant me wisdom to govern your people and to administer justice." God was very pleased with Solomon's request. He said, "Since you have not asked for long life or wealth for yourself, nor have you asked for the death of your enemies, but for wisdom to govern my people, I will grant you unparalleled wisdom and insight. Though you did not ask for wealth and honor, I will give them to you as well, so that no other king will compare with you in all your days. If you walk in my ways, keeping my statutes and commandments as your father David did, I will give you a long life." Thus, God bestowed upon King Solomon unmatched wisdom. Later, 2 women came before King Solomon, disputing over a baby. Each claimed that she was the infant's mother, and neither would yield. King Solomon carefully reviewed the case. He first asked the 2 women what had happened. The first woman said, "She is falsely accusing me and trying to take my child." The second woman said, "No, this is my child. Her child died by accident during the night." Both women presented compelling arguments, and for a moment, King Solomon found it difficult to determine the real mother. At that point, Solomon recalled how God had granted him wisdom. He knew that true wisdom meant discerning right from wrong and administering justice. Therefore, he ordered a servant to bring a sword and prepared to cut the baby in 2 in front of everyone. Seeing this, the second woman quickly said, "Please, my lord, give her the child, but do not kill him." The first woman, however, said, "Let it be as you say, my lord." King Solomon saw through their true intentions. He understood that a real mother would rather her child live, even if it meant losing him. Therefore, he awarded the baby to the second woman. This story teaches us that true wisdom is a gift from God. Just as King Solomon earnestly sought God, so too will God assist those who seek Him with a sincere heart. The fox borrows the tiger's might. In a dense forest, there lived a cunning fox. The fox was not strong, but it was very smart. It often used its cleverness to deceive other animals. One day, as the fox was wandering through the forest, it suddenly saw a tiger. The tiger was the fiercest animal in the forest, and all animals would hide far away upon seeing it. The fox was no exception, and it quickly hid behind a big tree, frightened. However, the fox soon changed its thoughts. Although the tiger is very fierce, it is also very lazy. As long as I don't provoke it, it certainly won't attack me actively. With this thought in mind, the fox mustered up the courage to walk out from behind the tree. When the tiger saw the fox, it did not pounce to attack as the fox had imagined, but instead stared at it curiously. Seeing that the tiger did not attack, the fox felt even more proud. It puffed up its chest and said loudly to the tiger, "You fool, don't you know I am sent by God to manage all the animals? If you dare to eat me, God will strike you with lightning as punishment." Upon hearing the fox's words, the tiger was immediately scared and trembled all over. It had never heard of God, nor did it know how formidable God could be. Fearing that the fox would really complain to God, it obediently let the fox go. After escaping from the clutches of the tiger, the fox became even more smug. It boasted everywhere about how imposing it was, and how it had frightened the tiger into a cowardly retreat. Other animals, hearing the fox's words, were filled with awe for it. From then on, the fox bullied other animals by using its borrowed authority. It often snatched food from other animals and forced them to work for it. One day, the fox encountered a lion in the forest. The lion was the true king of the forest, and all animals would give way to the lion. The fox was no exception. It was so scared that it quickly hid behind a large tree. However, the fox soon thought again. Although the lion is very strong, it is also very fair. As long as I don't provoke it, it definitely won't attack me actively. Thinking this, the fox plucked up its courage and walked out from behind the tree. When the lion saw the fox, it did not pounce to attack as the fox had imagined, but looked at it curiously instead. Seeing that the lion did not attack, the fox felt even more proud. It stood tall and said loudly to the lion, "You fool! Don't you know I am sent by God to manage all the animals? If you dare to eat me, God will strike you with lightning as punishment." Upon hearing the fox's words, the lion burst into laughter. It said to the fox, "You coward, did you really think you could fool me? I've known all along that you are a crafty fox. Do you think I would be afraid of you?" After saying this, the lion swiped with its paw and killed the fox. The death of the fox served as a profound lesson to all the animals. False authority can only bully the weak. It is utterly useless in front of the truly strong. The morale of the story of the fox borrowing the tigers might tells us that one should not rely on the power of others to oppress people, or else one will eventually suffer the consequences. We must learn to think independently and not be easily intimidated by the power of others. Furthermore, the story also teaches us the importance of self-awareness. Only by clearly recognizing our strengths and weaknesses can we avoid detours in life. Mr. Approximate's imaginary world. In a simple little town, Mr. Approximate was known for his unique lifestyle. His days were filled with casualness and hastiness, making him a truly distinguished figure in the town. Mr. Approximate's story began with a minor incident. One day, his mother asked him to buy some brown sugar from the market for a dessert. The market was bustling with stalls, and the cries of the vendors filled the air. Mr. Approximate casually walked past these stalls, eventually stopping at one selling sugar. He absent-mindedly grabbed a bag of white sugar, thinking it was brown sugar. When he got home and his mother discovered he had bought the wrong sugar, he just shook his head and said, "Mom, sugar is sugar, close enough." This left his mother both amused and resigned to his carelessness. At school, Mr. Approximate's attitude towards learning was as lax as ever. In geography class, when asked about the geography of China, he confused Shaanxi with Shaanxi. The teacher sternly corrected his mistake, but Mr. Approximate casually responded, "Teacher, aren't both provinces in China? The one's in the west, close enough." His answer left the teacher both laughing and exasperated, but she continued the lesson helplessly. As an adult, Mr. Approximate worked at a shop in town. He was responsible for recording sales data, but his inaccuracies often led to numerous mistakes. Recording 10 as 1,000 frequently gave his boss headaches. Whenever questioned, he would just laugh it off. "Boss, numbers? Whether a bit more or a bit less, close enough." This attitude left those around him both frustrated and amused. Finally, an important trip became a turning point. Mr. Approximate needed to catch a train to Shanghai to handle some important business. He packed lightly and headed to the train station. However, his lax attitude towards time caused him to miss the train. Standing on the platform, watching the train leave, he shook his head and chuckled. "Going tomorrow is just as good, right? Close enough." This carefree attitude towards time ultimately caused him to miss a business opportunity. Mr. Approximate's life philosophy was exemplified to the extreme in his final moments. When he urgently needed medical attention, his family mistakenly brought a veterinarian. Even in this critical moment, he stuck to his philosophy. A doctor is a doctor, close enough. Unfortunately, the incorrect treatment led to a tragic end. Mr. Approximate's life, though filled with casualness and carelessness, became a story told throughout the town, serving as an example of the consequences of not taking things seriously. His attitude, while amusing, also became a warning. Precision and seriousness are indispensable in life. The story of Moses. Long ago, the Pharaoh of Egypt was very afraid of the number and strength of the Israelites. He feared they might rebel and take over Egypt. To prevent this, he ordered that all newborn Hebrew boys be thrown into the Nile River. However, one brave mother decided to protect her child. She placed the baby in a waterproof basket and set it afloat on the Nile, letting it drift away. One day, Pharaoh's daughter was bathing by the river and discovered the basket. She opened it and saw a beautiful baby inside, which delighted her. She decided to adopt the baby and named him Moses because she drew him out of the water. From then on, Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace, enjoying the life of a prince. When Moses grew up, one day he saw an Egyptian mistreating a Hebrew slave. He became very angry and killed the Egyptian. To escape punishment, Moses fled to Midian, where he became a shepherd. One day in Midian, while Moses was shepherding at Mount Horeb, he saw a bush that was on fire but not burning up. When he approached it, he suddenly heard God's voice coming from the bush. God told Moses to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery into freedom. Moses returned to Egypt and, together with his brother Aaron, went to see Pharaoh. They told Pharaoh that God commanded him to let the Israelites leave Egypt, but Pharaoh stubbornly refused their request. Then God sent 10 plagues to punish Egypt. These plagues were the Nile turning to blood, frogs covering the land, lice infesting everywhere, swarms of flies, livestock plague, boils on people and animals, hail destroying crops, locusts devouring plants, darkness covering the land, and finally the death of every firstborn in Egypt. These disasters brought great suffering and fear to the Egyptians. Finally, after experiencing these plagues, Pharaoh had to surrender and agreed to let the Israelites leave Egypt. Shortly after the Israelites set out, Pharaoh regretted his decision and sent his army to pursue them. When the Israelites were trapped by the Red Sea and saw Pharaoh's army approaching, they were filled with fear and despair. At that moment, God instructed Moses to raise his staff, and a miracle occurred. The Red Sea parted, revealing a dry path for the Israelites to cross safely. After the Israelites had safely crossed the Red Sea, Pharaoh's army attempted to follow them. But as they reached the middle of the sea, the waters suddenly closed in, drowning all the pursuers. After safely crossing the Red Sea, the Israelites rejoiced on the shore, thanking God for his greatness and love. Moses led everyone in singing praises to God, celebrating his miracles and deliverance. That day became an unforgettable day for them, as they knew it was God's power that had freed them from slavery and led them to freedom. This is the story of Moses, a tale full of miracles, faith, and courage. I hope every child can learn wisdom and bravery from it, and feel the power of love and hope.